So good evening, everyone, and welcome to NRCM's annual Conservation Leadership Awards. We're so thrilled that you have joined us here tonight to celebrate a special group of Mainers who are working hard each and every day to protect the nature of Maine. Of course, we would have loved to have been with you in person for this program, but we appreciate that you've joined us here online instead. And I speak for everyone here at NRCM when I say that we hope that you and your families are safe and healthy during this challenging time. My name is Todd Martin. I'm the Grassroots Outreach Coordinator at the Natural Resources Council of Maine. NRCM, as we know, is a nonprofit membership organization protecting, restoring, and conserving Maine's environment now and for future generations. For 63 years, NRCM has helped protect the places and the way of life that make Maine such a special place to live, work, and play. NRCM harnesses the power of the law, science, and the voices of more than 25,000 members and supporters statewide and beyond. We have a staff of 26 and our office is located in Augusta, just steps from the State House. The Natural Resources Council of Maine recognizes and honors the Penobscot, Passamaquoddy, Maliseet, and Micmac tribes of Maine, collectively the Wabanaki, which translates as people of the dawn. These tribes have stewarded Maine for generations, stretching back to before colonial settlers forcibly occupied the area. The NRCM office in Augusta is on the unceded territory of the Penobscot Indian Nation. And most of us at this event tonight are on unceded lands once overseen by the Wabanaki. These lands, both urban and rural, have inherited a legacy of broken treaties and genocide. In defiance of these injustices, descendant communities of the Wabanaki maintain spiritual, cultural, and physical connections to Maine lands. Tonight, we acknowledge that history. We recognize Indigenous sovereignty. A land acknowledgement like this is an essential beginning, but it's only a beginning. I ask that all of us commit to actively using our voices, our resources, and our power to support the tribes. At NRCM, we know how important it has been over the last 63 years since our organization was founded, and how essential it will continue to be to work together with the Wabanaki knowledge keepers to protect land, air, water, and wildlife here in Maine. Before we get started with our program, just a couple notes about the Zoom webinar platform we're using this evening. First, this program is being recorded, and you'll all receive a follow-up email with a link to watch the recording. And we hope that you'll share it with friends and family who are unable to join us here this evening. Your video and your audio is disabled this evening by design. You'll only be able to see and hear our awardees and our presenters this evening. But if you have a question during the program, please type that question into the Q&A box, which is on the lower ribbon of your Zoom screen, and we'll have some time for questions and answers towards the end of the program. Without further ado, we're going to start our program with a bit of music. The piece that you're about to hear was recorded by Maine-based artist Justin Walton of Gardner. If you've attended a Conservation Leadership Award event in the past, Justin often graces us with his musical talents. And so we wanted to make sure you got a chance to hear his great music this evening here on Zoom. So we hope that you enjoy his jazz rendition of What a Wonderful World and some lovely scenes of Maine.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed day, dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Colors that rainbow, so pretty in the sky, also on the faces of people going by, I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Colors that rainbow, so pretty in the sky, also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Lisa, you need to take yourself off mute.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lisa Pullman. I'm the CEO of the Natural Resources Council of Maine. And on behalf of the NRCM staff and board, welcome to our 2021 Conservation Leadership Awards. Now, we really look forward to being able to hold this event in person again once the pandemic is safely behind us. But meanwhile, we're glad you could join us virtually for this special occasion, and fingers crossed that my power and your power hold out. Because even though it looks like I'm in Aroostook County on Square Lake right now, I'm actually in Belfast. Anyway, that song, What a Wonderful World, and all the pictures that went with it is the perfect theme for the evening. There are many things that are wrong with our world, but there's still so much natural beauty to protect, and that is what makes our world wonderful. Every year, we honor a few extraordinary individuals who understand that very well. They have identified environmental challenges in their communities and have gone to great lengths to take those challenges on and to rally others to join their cause. But before we present this year's Conservation Leadership Awards, let's take a moment to reflect on some enormous victories that came out of our work together this past year. So, starting with just 2 weeks ago, Canada-based Wolfden Resources withdrew its application for a mine near Baxter State Park and right next to outstanding fish habitat. The company ultimately withdrew its application because it had no chance of passing, thanks to Maine tribes, sporting camp owners, and more than 700 Mainers, including many of you, who spoke out against their request to rezone our land for their mine. NRCM staff scientists Nick Bennett uncovered a long list of technical errors and unsubstantiated claims being made by Wolfden, and we couldn't be more pleased about this news. By now, you've likely heard about the huge win for recycling in Maine, thanks to passage of the Extended Producer Responsibility for Packaging Law. This first-in-the-nation law strengthens local recycling programs by requiring Amazon, Walmart, and other big corporations and packaging manufacturers to help pay for the costs of managing that waste at the local level, just as they do elsewhere in the world. Our staff expert, Sarah Nichols, who led Maine's EPR effort, has been interviewed by just about every Maine news outlet, as well as for stories that appeared in the New York Times, on ABC, the Washington Post, CNBC, and many, many more. In fact, this week, NBC News is in Maine to interview her. So yes, this is a really big success and a really big deal. This was also an important year for land conservation, with the Land for Maine's Future program receiving $40 million over 4 years. And that $40 million comes straight from the budget and won't be by referendum, plus $50 million for Maine State Park infrastructure and facility improvements. This funding is about a decade overdue, but comes not a moment too soon. With the ongoing pandemic, we're all enjoying Maine's public lands more than ever. It was good news for the climate, and energy efficiency was a priority. NRCM worked hard to help pass a bill requiring higher efficiency standards for appliances like computers and monitors, for example. New financing programs were put in place for clean energy, and the Public Utilities Commission will now be required to actively help the state reduce greenhouse gas emissions. We are heartened by the legislature's clear commitment to implementing many aspects of Maine's climate action plan. Another highlight tracks back to 2019, but because of COVID, we didn't get to see it in action until just recently, and that is the plastic bag ban. So it was passed in 2019, but it wasn't implemented until this year. How amazing is it that we no longer see people hauling groceries from the supermarket in carts full of plastic bags that cause so much trouble for our environment and wildlife? We expect that somewhere around 450 million wasteful and unnecessary plastic bags will be kept out of Maine landfills and the environment just in this first year. August, of course, marked the 5th anniversary of the Katahdin Woods and Waters National Monument designation, an important reminder of the incredibly hard work it took on behalf of many of our members to make the dream of the monument a reality. But of course, there is still much work to do. 4 dams on the Kennebec between Waterville and Skowhegan block the future of endangered Atlantic salmon. NRCM filed a lawsuit to stop the dam owners, a Canadian-based Brookfield Renewables organization, from illegally killing salmon. But we're going to need all voices to speak up and insist that Brookfield remove these dams, which, by the way, provide less energy than is planned for solar in the Climate Action Plan. These dams are not worth the harm they are causing salmon and other anadromous fish. The vote for the CMP corridor is coming right up on November 2nd. If you're not clear yet on the best vote for the environment, please visit our website where you can read our new fact sheet that spells everything out. In our latest podcast, Advocacy Director Pete Dittesheim does an excellent job exposing all of CMP's lies and exaggerations, and clearly explains why there are no benefits to the climate and why it's so important to stop this devastating project with a yes on one vote. As we prepare for the upcoming legislative session, high on our list is the closing of a loophole in Maine law that allows toxic out-of-state waste to fill up state-owned Juniper Ridge landfill in Old Town. This dump threatens sites of cultural, spiritual, and historical importance to the Penobscot Nation. It's an important reminder that all voices must be heard in order for environmental justice to work. NRCM is working hard to include Maine's diverse and underserved communities and we are absolutely committed to this work. So thanks to everyone who took action, spoke up, donated in support of our work, and otherwise engaged with us this year. We're looking forward to 2022 and hopefully being with you in person. Now on with our awards presentation, starting with our People's Choice Award presented by communications team member Beth Como. Beth, take it away.
Thank you, Lisa. For more than a decade and a half, the Natural Resources Council of Maine has been inviting our supporters to consider people who are volunteering their time in their community to make a difference for Maine's environment and to nominate them for our People's Choice Award. This year, we were absolutely thrilled to receive an incredible 28 nominations from 24 communities from around the state, and even a few nominations from some of our Massachusetts members. Thank you to each of you for your selfless efforts, and thanks also to those who took the time to nominate their environmental heroes. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge 4 of the 5 extraordinary People's Choice finalists, a few of whom I know are joining us online tonight. This year's runners-up are Andy Burt of Edgecombe, a tireless advocate for the greater good and Maine's environment through her grassroots work, including organizing and building diverse coalitions of youth, civic leaders, legislators, Indigenous leaders, businesses, and others to take action on climate change, as well as many other important issues. Leslie Clapp of Blue Hill, who for decades has been a strong advocate for wildlife habitat, especially for birds and pollinators, and for being the go-to resource in her community for people who want to follow her example. Heather McCargo of Portland, founder of Wild Seed Project, which helps educate people about the ecological importance of native plants and inspires them to take action to protect biodiversity and wildlife habitat. And Elizabeth McClellan of Portland, creator of the nonprofit Partners for World Health, which collects, repackages, and distributes millions of tons of medical supplies that otherwise would have ended up in Maine landfills. Very special thanks and congratulations to you all. Our 5th finalist is also this year's winner, which is always decided by popular vote. I am honored to be able to introduce our 2021 recipient of the NRCM People's Choice Award, Sam Saltonstall of Brunswick. Sam has been a tireless advocate for energy efficiency, renewable energy, and climate change mitigation for almost 2 decades. He served on the board of Maine Interfaith Power and Light and currently serves as board president of Window Dressers, a nonprofit group of volunteers that has built more than 42,000 insulating window inserts. When he resided on Peaks Island, Sam tested the wind with the University of Maine Meteorological Tower, helped organize the weatherization of 108 island homes, and organized collective purchases of 65 discounted heat pumps and 1,100 LED bulbs. As a volunteer with the Citizens Climate Lobby, Sam has traveled to Washington, D.C. 3 times to lobby members of Congress on climate. As a member of the neighborhood UCC Church in Bath, he led efforts to tighten up the building, install a heat pump, raise funds for rooftop solar, which was installed and went online just this month, and helped organize a 6-part Zoom series called Bath Cares for its Climate Future. Sam led a successful effort to get the Bath Land Use Code changed so that appropriately designed solar installations visible from the street can be installed in the historic district. And he's a founding member of Green Steps, a group of residents living in the Highland Green retirement community in Topsom that promotes environmental stewardship. And I have a feeling that's merely scratching the surface of Sam's hard work and dedication. On behalf of NRCM, congratulations to Sam Saltonstall, our 2021 People's Choice Award winner. Sam, we would be honored if you would say a few words.
Thank you so much, Beth. I want to say right off that the other 4 People's Choice finalists are amazing. I am so impressed with what Andy Burt, Leslie Clapp, Heather McCargo, and Elizabeth McClellan have accomplished. I've been thinking a lot too about how lucky we all are to have Maine's environmental organizations behind us. We volunteers would be homeless without you. My primary support has come from 3 groups. Window Dressers is a nonprofit whose volunteers have built about 43,000 insulating window inserts since we began in 2011. This year, we have community builds in 37 towns here in Maine and also in Vermont. The Island Institute staff helps sustain Maine's island and coastal communities with great initiatives and connections. I volunteered with them when we lived on Peaks Island. Citizens Climate Lobby is a nonpartisan grassroots advocacy organization focused on getting effective climate change legislation passed in Congress. I'm a member of the Bath Brunswick chapter. I want to give a special shout out to the folks in the neighborhood church in Bath. For 3 years, we worked to raise the needed money, make our building more energy efficient, and get the land use code changed so that we could install the brand new solar panels up on our roof. Environmental work often feels like a never-ending slog that requires patience, persistence, and lots of optimism. I bet you agree that the personal rewards are not found so much in recognition, but in knowing that what we do is really important and that there are so many good people working alongside us here in Maine and all around the world. We have such a challenging road ahead. We now know with absolute certainty that we don't have to burn fossil fuels anymore, but we must do everything we can to speed up the transition away from them to clean sources of energy. I believe that nothing less than a tax on carbon, along with a host of other effective federal and state policy measures, will get the job done and restore American leadership, even as the world continues to warm. It is so unfair that we could leave to future generations a world already trending in such a harmful direction, endangering first the most vulnerable among us who didn't cause the problem, people, plants, and animals, and all of us, really. The injustice and foolishness of it motivates me, and I hope you, to stay engaged, be of good courage, better learn what our Wabanaki neighbors have known all along, and not throw in the towel. Thanks again, NRCM, for presenting this award and for tonight's celebration.
Thank you so much, Sam. It's been great to know you all these years, and I look forward to getting to know you better. So next up, I'm going to introduce Sarah Nichols, who's our Sustainable Maine Director and the person behind the cameras on so many things that are coming up because of the Extended Producer Responsibility Act. So take it away, Sarah.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Lisa. So as Lisa mentioned in her opening remarks, NRCM and Maine and the nation experienced a huge victory when lawmakers passed the Extended Producer Responsibility EPR for packaging bill this year. This was no easy victory, and it took several years of sweat and tears and the support of businesses that care about the kind of environment we leave to future generations. Laura Marston, owner of GoGo Refill, went to great lengths to help us pass this important piece of legislation. She wrote to her lawmakers, to newspapers, and to the governor. She gathered petition signatures, used her shop to advocate for the bill, helped draft the business letter of support, asked businesses to sign on to it, and also read that letter of support as testimony before the legislature. All of this is especially remarkable when you consider that the new EPR law requires businesses to pay for their waste. Not all businesses understand that what's good for Maine's environment is good for Maine businesses. And Laura knows this to be true, which is why GoGo Refill is a community leader. As part of her goal to live plastic-free and to help others do the same, the shelves in her shop are lined with plastic-free products and now has a mobile refill van called Vincent Van GoGo to help her and others live without plastic. Laura has organized cleanup events to foster a sense of community around the goal of stopping plastic pollution and takes every opportunity there is to educate and address the problem of plastic pollution. For advocating for and pioneering new ways to reduce waste and encourage reuse through her business, GoGo Refill, throughout her community and across Maine, on behalf of the Natural Resources Council of Maine, I am pleased to present a 2021 Conservation Leadership Award to Laura Marston. And Laura, congratulations, and we would be honored if you would share a few words with us.
Hi, thank you. Sarah, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Wow. Thank you for those kind words. To say I'm honored is a huge understatement. As we all know, the NRCM has been leading the way here in Maine with focused vision and their effort, fighting for critical environmental protections with unmatched professionalism, integrity, and energy. So to even be considered by this group of individuals who I so admire, much less to receive this award, it's such an incredible honor. First, I want to thank my family for supporting the Go-Go Dream. This business and this mission are certainly a family affair. And to the Go-Go team, my team of awesome employees and team members, none of this would be possible without you. Our motto here at Go-Go Refill is think big, start small. We believe in the power of individual action to create change. Our refilling community has managed to refuse over 50,000 single-use plastic packages since we opened 2 years ago by refilling. But we know that in the face of the climate crisis, we need a multi-pronged approach. We need the effort of individuals changing habits and creating a circular economy, but we also need regulations to hold corporations accountable for their impact. That's why working with Sarah and also with Chrissy Adamowitz on the EPR for packaging bill was such a privilege. They're both so impressive, so energetic, and always had great answers to my many questions about the law. Would it go far enough? Would it hold the right people accountable? Would it be enforceable? And would it target the biggest offenders? So I want to say a huge well done and thank you to the whole NRCM team who worked on EPR. It's amazing that we are the first in the nation to make this happen, sign into law, and it still gives me goosebumps that I was even a part of it at all. Congratulations tonight to the other award recipients. I'm honored to be in such good company. And lastly, I promise to take this award and use it to continue to do this work with much enthusiasm, because we're just getting started and there's just so much more to do. So thank you.
Yay, Laura, thank you so much. And thank you, Sarah, and all of the team that was a part of this. And a hug. All right, next up is I would like to introduce Riley Stevenson. Riley is a Brookie Award winner, and this is one of the newest programs that we have. And she was one of the first winners in 2020. And she's from Waldoboro, and she started she's the founder and executive director of Coastal Youth Climate Coalition. She was the outreach director for Maine Youth Climate Strikes, and a great example of youth activism. So our program, she will describe a little bit, but welcome, Riley.
I really and truly love Maine. I think that the connection to the land is so special. Being able to sustain those ways of life is so important to me, and I think that there really should be a group focused on how we could all work together to create more momentum in this specific area, which is why I started the Coastal Youth Climate Coalition, which functions between Wiscasset and Mount Desert Island. In the climate movement, anything that you do counts. That's how movements are built, is from raising your voice in whatever way you can. My name is Riley Stevenson, and I'm a youth climate activist from Midcoast, Maine. Good evening, everyone. My name is Riley Stevenson, as you just saw. I'm 18 years old, and I'm a proud recipient of a 2020 NRCM Rising Brookie Award, which included that fantastic video which was made. The Brookie Awards honor and celebrate Maine's next generation of environmental change makers who are aged 15 to 30 for their leadership, creativity, collaboration, and positive impact for Maine's environment. I was so proud to win this award for my role organizing youth climate strikes in my community and helping advance climate justice here in Maine. I found immense value in the professional development training I received, the nature-based retreat on Cow Island in Casco Bay, and in the friendships I have formed with the other award winners. Tonight, I am thrilled to announce that the 2022 Brookie Award application is now live and actively seeking applicants aged 15 to 30. If you know a strong candidate, please nominate them for the award by visiting www.brookieawards.org and filling out a nomination form. We'll be selecting 6 award recipients in the spring, and they'll be honored at an award ceremony in Portland in late May. Thank you for nominating strong candidates in your network, and enjoy the rest of tonight's program.
Thank you, Riley. That's wonderful. Yeah, please do visit this website and make nominations because we are raring to go. And Todd Martin, who you saw at the beginning of the program, is our NRCM Rising Director, just so you know. And so you get to spend some time with him, which is wonderful. Next up is Pete Dittesheim, who is our Senior Director of Advocacy. Many of you already know who Pete is, but he's going to announce the next award winner. So Pete, take it away.
Thank you, Lisa. So hold on one second. So climate change is the most pressing environmental issue of our time. I think we all recognize that. Addressing this crisis here in Maine requires the expertise of our state's most knowledgeable minds. Ivan Fernandez is one of those leaders who is helping Maine understand the reality of the climate crisis as we prepare strategies and solutions for a clean energy future which cannot arrive soon enough. Ivan is a soil scientist who studies biochemistry of forested ecosystems in a changing chemical and physical climate. He has studied acid rain and mercury deposition in forested watersheds. He's written dozens of papers on air pollution, forestry, chemistry, climate change, and more. A distinguished professor at the University of Maine's Climate Change Institute and School of Forest Resources, Ivan co-authored the foundational report, Maine's Climate Future, released in 2009 with updates in 2015 and in 2020. These have been critical documents for policymakers and the public at large. As a member of the Maine Climate Council and co-chair of the Scientific and Technical Subcommittee, Ivan played the lead role in drafting a comprehensive 370-page report titled Scientific Assessment of Climate Change and Its Effects in Maine. Ivan's work has helped shape Maine's understanding of how our climate is changing and how these changes will affect our environment, economy, and way of life. He has delivered facts and science to our policy process through compelling science-based testimony, speaking directly with our state and federal lawmakers. Through this work, Ivan has made a difference, a really big difference. Maine's climate policies and our climate action plan, Maine Won't Wait, rest on the foundation of knowledge that Ivan and his colleagues have assembled and brought forward. Through this work, Ivan has informed us, motivated us, and inspired us to action. Ivan, I just personally and on behalf of all of NRCM want to thank you for all that you do, for your leadership as one of Maine's top climate scientists. It really is an honor for NRCM to present to you a 2021 Conservation Leadership Award. Congratulations, and we would love to hear a few remarks from you.
Well, thank you. And congratulations to Laura, Sam, and John as well this evening. This is a real honor. When Pete called, I was taken back and quite surprised, and it's a humbling experience. I want to thank NRCM members and partners in the environmental community and citizens who consistently in our state show up to move forward on the climate agenda. Those efforts by all have created the momentum that we're seeing play out now as these new policies, as a wildly successful legislative session, and with more to come, unfold in our response to the changing climate. In the work that I've done in this regard, I've had the honor of working with, we have a lot of internationally recognized scientists in the state of Maine who always rise to the challenge with their expertise and time every time they're called on to move this initiative forward. And it's my honor to work with them in many of the activities that Pete referenced. At the same time, in climate work, for many years, to be able to work with many of the people in state and local government, day in and day out, moving forward on both small and large initiatives to respond, to adapt, to build resilience into our communities, and to move the various initiatives forward. It really is, I learn every day from working with these people. And they do that regardless of who's in the Blaine House. However, I would say that I'm really grateful for Governor Mills, her leadership on climate that moved us from the back of the pack to the front of the pack, and gave us Maine Won't Wait, which is our first integrated adaptation, mitigation, climate action plan that provides the kind of framework that is essential to move on the climate crisis. We're living in a really remarkable moment in history. It sounds a little corny to say it, but it's really the truth. We talk about the climate crisis. We hear it so often that it becomes sort of part of the ebb and flow of the daily news almost, but it is quite real. Every day is consequential now that we don't do something to achieve solutions. Children born in this year will experience, compared to children born in 1960, 4 and 5 times at a minimum of the extreme events later in this century and throughout their lifetimes, and 7 to 10 if we and so the need to act is critical in the work that everyone on this call, I suspect. My internet's unstable. I apologize if I'm blanking out here. So today, I mean, literally, it's probably blanking out because today we have bomb cyclones on both coasts. We're getting ours tonight. We have a banner year for fires, droughts, and ticks. The IPCC report in August was code red for humanity. And even if Glasgow is wildly successful in the next several weeks, it won't be near enough to keep warming of the planet below 1.5 degrees centigrade. So there's much to do. However, I guess I would want to end with or close with, I remain hopeful and optimistic. From Maine Won't Wait to Build Back Better to Glasgow and other initiatives, there's reason to believe the stars are aligning. Just like we report on accelerating indicators of climate change as scientists, I think the further we go towards solutions, we will see acceleration in their success as well. We know the world fast. I used to have slides that gave various examples from history. Now everyone on this call lived through COVID transforming our planet in 1 week in the winter of 2020. So we know change can happen fast. We know what to do. We know it's cost effective. And so I'm deeply appreciative of this award, this honor tonight to be able to join all of you of the work that NRCM does and all of its partners in moving the climate agenda forward. We can be proud of Maine, where we're at now in leading, but there's much work done. And I look forward to working on those initiatives and those goals with all of you. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Ivan. And thank you, Pete, for introducing Ivan. We really appreciate your work. Sorry, your internet's a little unstable, but that's okay. Next up, I'm going to introduce Nick Bennett, who is our staff scientist and also our Healthy Waters Director. And he's going to introduce our Lifetime Achievement Award. But before we get that far, I do want to say a little something about John Banks, who is our recipient. John is, I have the great, great honor of working with John on the Penobscot River Restoration Board and now on the executive committee that is still active. And I've just learned so much from him. His calm, his demeanor is just so gracious. And I know that NRCM has a long, long history of working with John on various and sundry things to clean up the Penobscot River. So Nick may address some of that. Let me pass it on to Nick, and thank you so much, John.
Thanks, Lisa. My internet is not unstable, but my 2 dogs are. So I apologize if you hear some fighting going on in the background. I was hoping for better from them, but maybe not. I think before I get to presenting this award to John, I'm supposed to introduce a video, which is actually a really cool video about the Kennebec, and has some wonderful folks who we've been working with in it on trying to get the 4 dams between Waterville and Skowhegan out of the river so we can prevent the extinction of Atlantic salmon. Todd Martin and Colin Durant did an incredible job pulling this video together, along with Jerry Monkman, who did the recording and video work. So with that, I will introduce the video and put myself back on mute so you don't hear my dogs barking.
My name is Christy Holmes. I was born and raised in Machias. Now I live in Gray in southern Maine. As a Maine guide, I organize hunting and fishing trips through the Maine Women Hunters Group. Maine's outdoor economy is a $3 billion economy, with fishing and boating as the #1 outdoor recreation use in that. And it all starts with healthy rivers, which means healthy fisheries. If we're going to recover Atlantic salmon, we need to remove the dams between Waterville and Skowhegan so that they can get to their spawning habitat in the Sandy River. Species like shad, eel, alewives, blueback herring, all those fish will benefit from the removal of those dams.
My name's Bill Briggio. I'm the city manager of the great capital city of the state of Maine, Augusta. Been here now for a little over 23 years. There was a lot of concern or worry about what the environmental impact would be if the dam were to be removed. After having had 23 years to process the removal of this dam, I would say I'm very proud that I was a part of it. And I think in the end, it's a good thing. Between here and Waterville, the fishing's been great and so forth. There we go.
Quiet and Deluizi Maliakat Abamzain, and I Odanak Abenaki First Nation. I'm Molly Obamsawin. I'm from the Odanak Abenaki First Nation, and I grew up in Farmington, Maine, on the Sandy River, or on Muscontic. To me, removing dams and really addressing the problems that have caused this mass extinction that we're seeing across the world right now, removing the dams would be a gift of life for future generations. We'll be able to eat the fish that our ancestors ate in this river tens of thousands of years ago. You know, the Atlantic salmon are part of our creation story. Those fish chose us as a people. And the sturgeon, they chose to be part of our family as well. If they can't access us, if they can't access their own spawning grounds and rearing habitat in order to put their future generations forward, then that's a bad sign for future generations of the people living and relying on this waterway.
Thanks to all the folks who worked on that video. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about John and present him with a Lifetime Achievement Award. John Banks has been the director of the Penobscot Indian Nation's Department of Natural Resources for 4 decades. So we knew the day would come, the day when our close colleague and friend John Banks would retire. It's hard not to feel a little nervous and sad about what we will do without you at the helm of the Department of Natural Resources. But I wish you a happy, healthy retirement filled with great fishing, hunting, and paddling. John, your 4 decades of leadership as director of the Department of Natural Resources for the Penobscot Nation represent a tremendous legacy. I speak for all of us at NRCM when I say it's an honor to have worked with you on so many important efforts. Against mines in Maine's most precious places, against using Maine as a dumping ground for out-of-state waste, against paper industry pollution, in support of upgrading water quality standards in the Penobscot River, in support of restoring Atlantic salmon and other sea-run fish, in the fight against the CMP corridor, and of course, in the effort to remove dams and improve fish passage on the Penobscot River. You were the key to making the Penobscot project work. Your patience and knowledge guided the rest of us through a decade and a half of some very high highs and also some real lows. I don't know how many people know the story of the day you set the group of bickering NGOs and agency staff working on the project back on track with your wisdom and the touch of an eagle feather. I wasn't there that day, but I really value your having told me the story on a day we were hunting. And the hunting trips you've taken me on are some of the best I've ever had. Thank you for those. There will be many more of them. Your work honors and accomplishments also go well beyond me. The US EPA honored you with a Lifetime Achievement Award, and the US Fish and Wildlife Service has recognized your contributions to research on moose and white-tailed deer management, fur bearer populations and their body burdens of toxic chemicals, and black bear population dynamics, to name just a few subjects. US Fish and Wildlife Service has also recognized the key role you played in developing its first Native American policy back in 1994, and again for the role you played in updating the policy in 2016. I'm so grateful for all of the amazing work you have done and for how much better you have made this piece of the world. Thank you for that and for your many years of friendship, good advice, and patience. And again, of course, for the hunting trips. On behalf of the Natural Resources Council of Maine, it is a tremendous honor to present to you, John, our 2021 Conservation Leadership Award for Lifetime Achievement. John, we would be so pleased if you'd share with us a few words.
I don't know where to begin. Thank you so much for those words, Nick. It's been such a pleasure to know you and to hang out with you and do a little hunting and work with you on so many important projects. It's really an honor. I really can't express in words what an honor it is to be here tonight with so many great folks that have dedicated so much time and energy to helping to heal the wounds of this planet, this very, very tiny speck of cosmic dust that we all happen to inhabit together. It's amazing, when you think of how important water is, and people are really starting to understand the sacredness and the importance of water. And so I remember, in the long 15 or 20 years on working on the Penobscot River Restoration Project, how great it was to work with so many people that share a vision of the future, of what can happen, what can be done if people collaborate and work together and work on their common interests. And I remember having a feeling at one point during that process that I really don't even care if we get any dams out or not. It would be nice if we do get the dams out, but for me, just having the pleasure of meeting so many people and working with so many dedicated people really gave me a sense of hope and confidence for the future, that we're going to be okay. And when I got into this job, fresh out of school in Orono, forestry school in 1980, I really, as I started to begin my career and learn about the important issues and understand the importance of the Penobscot River to my tribe, it was really overwhelming. And I almost felt alone sometimes working alone. And, that has just evolved into such a great bunch of folks that I've worked with over the years. And I just can't thank you all enough for giving me a sense of hope for the future of this very fragile planet that we share. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I look forward to continuing our journey together, working together. And thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great. Well, that's it for tonight's program. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to ask you to please stay up to date with what we're working on next, as I've lightly described. And you can visit our website. You can check out social media. We're all over everything. Please go to the polls on November 2nd and vote. And with that, I would just like to say to the award recipients, if you could hang on for just a few more minutes, we would do that and take a picture the best we can on Zoom. But again, I hope next year we'll get to see you all in person. Thank you so much.